Good evening. Literally nobody waiting, but that's all right. Welcome to Casual AF, the gaming stream so casual, 99% of the time, I don't even start a video game, let alone play it, or maybe we'll discuss games at some point. I'm here with nobody, but the invincible Craig Bragg should be joining us shortly. This is it's been a heck of a week. uh, Trump won in handy fashion. They're calling it a landslide. I mean, from a Republican perspective, I guess winning the popular vote, which has been particularly difficult over the past, I don't know what, decades, with how populous New York and California are. But it's handy. It's a pretty handy a victory. I think the final count for the Electoral College was 312, and a lead of, last I checked, almost 6 million. Someone want to fact check me on that? Jamie, pull that up. Uh, Man, congratulations, USA. One day I'll live inside you. It's been amazing this week watching legacy media, crazy leftists on the internet. The cope is incredible, especially with the total vote count. And we'll circle back to that. But the why, how, Kamala's campaign was perfect. She ran a perfect campaign. And hearing people come to all sorts of like this is misogyny, this is racism, this is fascism. Why are Gen Z the Hitler Youth? I mean, as far from our side, it was perfect. It was exactly the campaign we needed, but not the one that was going to win them an election. Kamala was just a bad candidate out the gate, and the more she spoke, the more people saw through her, and to the point where she wouldn't go on Joe Rogan. Uh, Greetings, Costin. I don't know if I actually said hello, Six, but hello. Thanks for coming, guys. It was incackleable. I like that. It's pretty good. Um, it was amazing. It was amazing. I watched. I don't know if anyone was watching. I found a live stream that Fox had put up where they had no commentators, none at all. It was just numbers rotating on the screen, so it would just show you like what's going on in this state, what's going on in the next state, and then in the Senate and Congress races and stuff like that. And I was glued. I was just on the edge of my seat, going, oh, "He's catching up in Pennsylvania. Oh my God, he's catching up in Pennsylvania." He overtook in Pennsylvania. You should ask some of my friends. I would be sending them texts every 20 minutes with updates. He's ahead by 10,000 votes in Pennsylvania. So much fun. Mostly because Donald Trump won, but still it was like watching grass grow or paint dry. But if those things were exciting and ultimately meant something, and he won, from what I understand, every swing state. And for a minute, I thought he was going to get Minnesota, but he didn't. But that's okay because he got Nevada out of nowhere. That didn't seem like it was a thing that was going on. And if you start missing Harris, we could, yeah, you can have him because he'll be gone soon. I mean, not soon enough, but this is something that I wanted to discuss. I'm sure you know some people, and you probably have felt it. Everyone's felt it. One vote doesn't matter. Oh, my vote doesn't. It's not true. I don't think it's ever been true. From what I understand, the one vote not mattering has been disproven in every way possible over and over again, like mathematically, philosophically, and even morally. Your vote matters. It does. And this was something that was really important to the campaign, was there was a sort of grassroots movement of people saying it doesn't matter if you're in a deep blue state, just go vote. We want to get him the popular vote. We want to get him the popular vote so that when he wins the electoral college, they can't shriek, "Oh, but he didn't win the popular vote, and we should abolish the electoral college." Get him the whole kit and caboodle, right? Because when you do that, you might think it doesn't matter, but it does. And also, you'll swing states, states that they were calling a blue wall, not swing states, right? This is the blue wall, and oh, Donald Trump is going to have to get through the blue wall. He smashed through that blue wall. Like, I think I heard some Australian commentator talking about this was still during the count, night of. Yeah, that he's taking a sledgehammer to the blue wall, and he really was. It matters. That idea of this is a deep blue state, or this region is largely against you, is propaganda to keep you from voting, to believing that your one vote doesn't count. But it does, and it can, even in places where you'd think not a chance. Here it is. California 2020, California 2024. Did it swing the state? No. But it shows people there's a lot more Republicans in California than they knew, right? This didn't swing the state. And in the next election, it won't swing the state. But it's enough reason, it's enough evidence that the state isn't lost forever. You can, you can fundraise and ground game for the next 4 years, pushing to make California a swing state in the next 8 or 12, right? And the evidence is there. It's way more people that have just sort of given up because my one vote doesn't matter. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. And now you have the actual electoral evidence. It matters. Your vote counts. Damn it. Love it. Uh, White pill is real. Yes, I was actually one vote equals one white pill. I wanted to make the banner, but I didn't. But it's true, right? Like, there's your vote always counts. If 999,999 people vote one way, vote the other if that's what you believe. Just cast your ballot. It matters. And yeah, you can always show people that California map. If they're saying one vote doesn't matter, yes, it bloody does. Michigan, Wisconsin. Isn't Wisconsin Waltz's state? Waltz lost his own state. Oh, that's crazy. And Pennsylvania, that was a big deal. Now, okay, there's something. Oh, I didn't set the banner for it. Maybe it falls under this. 20 million votes also matter. Where did 20 million votes go? It wasn't 20 million. I think it's more like 13. But from what I heard, I saw a couple of photos. Nobody got into real detail, and they didn't follow up with it later. After 11 p.m., past midnight in, I think it was Detroit and in Philadelphia, cars and trucks started showing up with maybe ballots in them, and people called the cops. Called the cops. Cops rolled in, and with all those ballots, nothing changed. Isn't that interesting? If people are paying attention, if the cops are there, Democrats don't win those places where they say they stronghold, blue wall. And I think I can't remember which was it, Detroit or Philadelphia, where it was a bunch of like personal vehicles, not like a big, like 26-foot truck or something, that all had California plates, and they had boxes and boxes of ballots in them. So that's kind of interesting because carrying ballots across state borders is, from what I understand, a big no-no. Just happy that Soros stooge Colin Allred lost to Ted Cruz. It was looking a little tough for him. I'm not sure the interior stuff. I was watching that. I was like, holy shit, Ted Cruz is behind by like 1 million votes or something ridiculous. And then, yeah, he overtook. And yeah, Ted Cruz, good guy. Former Republican, what's the word, establishment crony. Now he's like a always Trumper. Is that a thing? Instead of a never Trumper? If Irvin Quinn runs as independent in the next Canadian, I will allow him to move to my city first. Yeah, I'd like to move anywhere that isn't Toronto, but also Canada. So I appreciate the invite, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. 20 million votes. Hey, where did the votes go? Yeah, people are real curious about that one. 20 million or 13 million, however many it actually ended up being, but it's millions and millions of votes that they're expecting. They're actually saying, oh my God, it's fraud. Those votes didn't just disappear. And I'm thinking, you're so close. Those votes didn't just disappear. Nope, they didn't just disappear. You're so close. Incredible. We have to investigate. There's shenanigans. Trump cheated. Stole 13 million votes. I don't know, man. I don't know. One of these things is not like the others. Such a good week. Such a good week watching people freak out about this. All of those votes. How? Whoa. 6, you're a threat to democracy. Only Democrats get to question the integrity of the election, right? When they do it, it's for democracy. When you do it, it's a threat to democracy. You gotta, come on, guys, come on. Keep up with these dudes. Yeah, where was the enthusiasm? Where was how did Biden, they've been saying it, like, run a basement campaign during a pandemic and get this much excitement? Yeah, because hat hair Americans got BTFO'd. Yeah, this is another good one. Let me see if I can share this. Just amazing. The numbers of total votes cast, election over election, going back to 2004. Numbers are pretty steady. 2020, nothing strange about that at all. Damn, y'all, maybe we really did steal the election in 2020. I am so fucking embarrassed right now. Oh, these guys, like, they're catching on. They're catching on. And yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. Uh, Less wonderful is apparently there has actually been a number of suicides that occurred. Ajax Pox, gentlemen, good to see you. Craig's on his way. Don't worry. This is just mind-boggling. That yeah, people are having trouble accepting the election results again. The suicides is fake news. Show sauce. Yeah, again, I'm only hearing it anecdotally, but I mean, some of these people are so, like, I don't know what. If there's any truth to it, I'm sad, but I mean, they sad for them. But I mean, how can you be so stupid and weak as to go, oh no, the guy I didn't want got elected, better off myself. Yeah, someone I think actually had account for the day on the 6th of November that yeah, total suicides throughout the US was like double what is expected and shit. And I don't know, maybe it's the election, maybe it's not the election. People are fucking weird. I'm just loving that it is in fact now an obvious mandate, right? That whole get out to vote, get the popular vote, that's important, worked and demonstrated what that means, like how that it does work, first off. And that, yeah, you can swing states that weren't swing states, and you can even threaten to turn California into a swing state. Remember, there was a time California was Republican, as far as I understand. That Ronald Reagan was the Republican governor of California before he ran for president. If I'm not some American with the history, correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, to look at that county electoral map, it's amazing. Tippy Canoe, welcome, evening. Word is the count is still being held up in California because California is reluctant to add to Trump's popular vote totals. Yeah. Yep. I believe it. Because if it's not the huge kind of landslide victory that California expects, like the way, say, Kentucky goes almost 70% Republican sometimes, then yeah, they're actually widening the gap in his favor. And that's massive. You know, that's like last I checked, it was 5+ million, almost 6 million popular vote lead, which is, you know, when he won the first time, wasn't he behind by a million votes or something like that? So just goes to show, right? You win it all in spectacular fashion, and it's hard to argue, or you just see people who were, oh, our elections are the most secure elections in the world, start freaking out about how Trump cheated and stole 13 million of their votes. It wasn't 20 million. It was like, yeah. 11 to 13, just gone. Or never were, as Six said. No, nobody liked the cackle. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let's bring it back. Let's bring back QAnon. Uh, I'm just going to make up a conspiracy theory as I go here. So, Kamala was a patsy for a Q insider who convinced her to break from the major factions within the Democratic Party and try to forge her own, just just to put more cracks, more division in the party. And they were scrambling so hard that they really couldn't unify properly in time, couldn't get behind her in time. Nobody liked her, didn't run a primary. This was all Q's doing. And now that they've lost and the divisions in the Democrat Party are more apparent, there's going to be a lot more infighting over 4 years trying to reestablish their power and reunify under a single banner, and no one's going to want to give it up. And I also wonder: is Kamala done? Is she done politics? Is she going to be like banned forever now? Is she going to be? Someone had said something about how, oh yeah, she's got a job waiting for her on MSNBC. We've heard her talk. Why would you give her a talking job? That doesn't make any sense. What's she gonna do? Cackle for 48 minutes out of an hour? Like, no, no, not gonna happen. You know, the people on those TV shows, they have to go off script to continue to sound natural, and she can't do that. She's not capable of it. Just amazing. I've seen my own country's leader congratulating Donald Trump, saying he's looking forward to working with him after accusing his political opponents of being MAGA type fascists, what authoritarians, MAGA style, far right, whatever's nonsense. Trump's going to remember. It's a good thing he'll be out soon. Not that quality ever will be much better, but I'm wondering if something like this has actually maybe invigorated some of the Canadian voters who don't want to vote conservative because they're not much better than liberals, but don't want to leave Trudeau in power, are going to start thinking, hey, maybe I should just vote because one vote might actually make a difference. And even if it doesn't have an outcome difference in the election, being counted is important, right? In our last federal election, the PPC got 880,000 votes. For Americans, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's when the winning party got 4.5 million votes, and the second place party got 5.5 million votes. You think the whole electoral college popular vote thing is bad in the States? That like Canada Parliament, it's just crazy. Same with the UK; they have the same kind of trouble. That what do they get, like 35% of the votes and 67% of the seats, something like that? Nuts, just nuts. Uh, so word is Nancy Pelosi wanted an open convention after Biden pulled out, but Biden nuked that from orbit by endorsing Kamala 30 minutes after he pulled out for revenge over being thrown under the bus. Interesting. Interesting. Uh, I buy it. I buy it. One more. One more. So you see, it was the Q insider who incited him to do that. Like it was all planned by Q. Already in his ear. Already in his ear while still planning the whole. the whole Kamala coup, because from what I understand too, he didn't himself pull out. He didn't drop out. He was forced to drop out. They made it look like he had dropped out, and then it was hard. No, I'm not dropping out. This is a like it would have basically would have destroyed any chance the party had of winning at all, right? Like we don't vote for parties, we vote for MPs, except that we vote for MPs who are the party. Like the party lines are so tight, you may as well put a faceless dummy on it with a red sticker. It's so ridiculous, like the way the parties are run. There's no breaking from party lines. If you do, you're gone, and you're replaced with someone who will. You may as well be a wooden dummy. Kamala felt the wrath of Dark Brandon. Yeah, like that was the smile on that man's face on his little speech congratulating Donald Trump and saying, "I'm the only one that didn't lose to Donald Trump." Uh, just hilarious. Donald Trump also made history by single-handedly dis- preventing the first female president twice, and that's something that needs to be fixed. The voting for party and MP. Yeah, but I mean, it's because yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I think the American system is superior because you can vote for the leader separately, like for the president separately from and down ticket. You can vote back and forth all you want, and yeah, like it makes a lot more sense, I think. But also, we've got other problems in Canada, like the proper representation, population versus seats, because of the way different provinces were pulled into confederation, and later provinces were basically told, "Oh, we'll give you a better deal, so that way you can't be outvoted and outmaneuvered by other provinces." So that now I think it's Alberta has 4.5 million people almost and 34 parliament seats, while our Maritimes and Newfoundland combined have less than 2.5 million people and 32 seats. So 2 million people difference and only two more seats. It's wild. And that's how you end up with 5.5 million people voting for the losing party while 4.5 million people voted for the winning party because, 4 million of those are out in Alberta and their votes effectively don't count. So this is not a serious country. And, there's still the people shrieking about Donald Trump being, oh, he's a convicted felon. You voted for a convicted felon. Uh, well, I mean, lots of people through history have been branded criminals uh, by a government, at least for the time being. The first female president isn't a piece of shit. This is something we'll circle back to the other people branded criminals. This is something that has amazed me that, oh, they just don't want a woman as president. Well, maybe they just didn't want these women, right? Like, I don't think anyone's opposed to, well, few people are opposed to the idea of a woman in a leadership position. But it seems that when it comes to president of the United States, the majority of women who want the job and are after it are horrible, insufferable monsters. Like, uh, and then when they don't win, it's not because they're women; it's because they're horrible, insufferable monsters. And I don't think people are getting that, especially on the left. We're awful candidates, just awful. Yeah, what does that stand for? Affluent white females, something something. I can't remember. Awful candidates. And Kamala's not white, but I mean, she may as well be with all that privilege. Oh, uh, so who else was branded criminals throughout history? Oh, George Washington branded a criminal. All of the founding fathers branded criminals by the English crown. And well, what happened to them? Some of them have their faces on Mount Rushmore now. Ah, yes, thank you. Affluent white female urban liberal. Yes, the awfuls. Hard to tell when she can't decide on an accent. Joe Rogan beat me to the joke. I mean, like I was gonna tell it, but he beat me to it. And I think this is the best time to bring in our man Craig. Here he is.
Well, that's right.
Craig. How the heck?
Good day, everybody. Hello.
How you been?
I've been all right. I went out and had a lovely dinner with some friends for my buddy's 40th birthday. Sorry I'm late, everybody. But that's what you got to do. How you been?
Living the dream.
Good.
Running the show. Yeah. We're just
How's the show going? You got some comments already, so that's good.
Got a few interactive people here. Six was just talking about Kamala and how terrible she is, and hard to tell when she can't decide on an accent. And Joe Rogan was like, I couldn't. You really wanted to see her address like a Chinese American conference, right? Oh, Kamala, best choice for China American. Vote Kamala.
Oh, it's my bad. You vote me, brown woman, good. I like your slate here. Vindicated.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I'm happy by the result, obviously. I was at dinner with a couple of Americans tonight, and I asked them who they voted for. And they voted Democrat. They voted Harrison Wall. So I'm like, oh, you filthy Democrats. I'm like, one of them has his father has a farm in Iowa. So they live in Buffalo, but he goes back at the planting season and at the harvest season to help on the farm. I said, did you vote in Iowa too? Because that's what you Democrats do, you vote wherever the hell you can. Like motherfuckers.
Oh.
I mean, they're not very political, and I think he's probably one of these people who, his parents were Democrats, so he's a Democrat kind of thing.
Right.
Same goes for her, right? She's like, oh, our house was always Democrat, so we're going to vote Democrat. And it could also be that they just don't like Trump. I mean, he's not everybody's cup of tea.
Sure, but it's not a good reason.
No, it's not. But I mean, democracy in the United States is not made up of people making rational decisions. It's made up of people making emotional decisions. It's why you see all the Democrats right now on TikTok and online going absolutely apoplectic over this results. It's like 2016 all over again. They're losing their goddamn minds. Yeah. And they look like absolute insane people.
Well, they are. They're absolute insane people,
They're ideologically possessed.
Absolutely.
They are low information. They're not what's the phrase that Tim Pool used? They are low resolution thinkers. That's it. They're low resolution thinkers.
Oh, that's actually, I think that's Jordan Peterson idea.
Oh, is
low
it?
Low res versus high res, yeah.
Yeah.
In your thinking, in your overview, and your
yeah. They hear a. They think in terms of like they'll hear a pejorative associated with somebody, and that is all they can think about when they hear that pejorative. So, Nazi, threat to democracy, Hitler, whatever, rapist. Like, what the biggest thing that really bothers me is these people when I see them on X. throwing around, he's been adjudicated as a rapist. No, no, he's been adjudicated, quite wrongfully, I might add, as liable for the accusation. And that whole case with the, what's her name, the psycho broad who says,
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either, but where basically she got to sue him because he denied her accusation, and they said that his denial of her accusation made him liable for libel or defamation, which is absolutely. So you're saying that if someone gets accused of something and they deny it, then they can be brought up on charges, or they can be sued for denying an accusation against them? That is the most asinine and ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That case is going to be thrown out. So she was awarded what, $88 million or whatever. He will never pay a single penny of that. That thing will be thrown out faster than you can shit in a toilet bowl, for to turn a phrase.
What do they say? The process is the punishment.
That's it. The process is the punishment. But it's also, it gives ammunition to the people who want to smear him. They can say now, oh yeah, well, a judge adjudicated that he's liable for the charge of rape. Well, no, they didn't. But, in the most broad sense of the word, he was accused as a rapist, and a judge ruled that the accusation has merit. He didn't rule that he actually committed this act, because he was never brought up on criminal charges for it. So anyway.
Yeah.
6 Minutes is both of them were awful candidates, just awful. I disagree. I think Donald Trump was great. I think he's a great candidate.
No. Hillary and Kamala. I made the remark that Donald Trump has made history by preventing the election of the first female president of the United States twice.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this is just it. Like, they need to. I said this in the video I uploaded today, which I haven't checked. I don't know how many views it's got. They need to seriously sit back and reflect. It's that Skinner meme, right? Where Skinner says, "Am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong." The Democrats and the mainstream media pundits, they really need to sit back and go, have we seriously gotten this wrong the entire fucking time? They're the Nazis going, are we the baddies? Yes, you are the fucking baddies. You are the bad people. You are the villains in this story, in this narrative. You are the bad people. You've done everything to try and smear the man and destroy him for 10 years. Why? Because he ran against your Madonna, your savior, Hillary Clinton. He ran against the Democrats and he beat her because you couldn't gauge the tone of the country. You couldn't gauge the feelings of people. You thought it was all going to be politics as usual. You thought that you could put up a person in a change year who was not a change candidate and who was absolutely despised by a good portion of the citizenry. You put her up thinking she was a shoo-in, thinking that the guy who has been talking about it for 30 years, who was respected as a businessman for 30 years, yeah, he had his detractors, but for all intents and purposes, everybody fucking loved him until he ran against a Democrat. And you think, oh, he can't possibly win. It's a joke. It's a joke. He's just doing it for attention, blah, blah, blah. And I understand that sentiment because, yeah, he's a bit of a showboat and he has been doing things for a long part of his life, purely to get praise and attention. But he's also, like I said, been talking for 30 years about if things ever got bad in this country, yes, I would run for president. I don't want to rule it out. Yeah. How does he say? I don't want to rule it out. It's not for me. I'm not into politics, but I will never rule it out.
Well, there was I don't know, I can't remember if it was an actual Trump campaign ad or just people putting together a video of cool Trump stuff going all the way back to the 80s. And even then, when asked, how would you want to be remembered? He answered, I'd like to be remembered as someone who did something good for America.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, that was unexpected. Like, I'd like to be as a builder. as a financier, as a wealthy, no, as someone who did something good for America. It's like, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, and like that was his whole thing. But he'd also been speaking for years about how things have been going downhill since the Obama years. Right? Since Obama, at one point he said Obama is the worst president in the history of the United States. And for a time, it was true, just based on his own record. Now, Democrats don't believe that. They believe he was like, the second coming. But if you look at what he did, if you look at the violations to the Constitution he enacted, if you look at all the terrible fucking shit he did as president, he was a bad president.
Oh, yeah.
Biden is arguably worse. And Kamala would have been 10 times worse, purely because she would have been nothing but a stuffed suit. She would have just been there as a puppet, just basically waving her arms while people behind her were actually doing all the terrible shit that they've been wanting to do for years, right?
I just want to thank Six for this meme. This is great. This is fantastic.
I can't see it. 1 second. Nick Fuentes is a piece of shit. The left, the right. It's true. Nick Fuentes is getting shit on pretty hard, eh?
Well, he is fucking terrible. Like, he's just, God, I don't even like. Yeah, the kid, the man, the kid is a grifter.
Yeah, he totally is.
He's just being awful and sensational because it makes money, right? Good for him taking advantage of the market, right? But man, what a fucking asshole.
He is. Kamala was the fat up guy from the reform scene from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm trying to picture the guy. Oh, you mean the politician who did the dance? He got up on stage with them while they were performing. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Here, can I share something that just came across my feed
Of course.
today? Now, apparently it's a couple of weeks old, but it was when I saw it, I'm like, fuck, man, this is good. Like, this could have put him over the top in a lot of areas. But anyway, I'll just share it.
I mean, there's a reason I went back to that picture.
We do.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. 1 second. I'm going to go max screen.
Yeah.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we, the people, choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing.
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
The sweet emotion raining all over me.
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
Smoke riding on the back of the
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Making back to me.
Amazing.
That's pretty powerful shit. Like, and apparently it was put up on YouTube about 4 days ago. So that was just in time for the election. 6 says for me to check my DMs. Yeah, 1 second. Oh yeah.
But anyway, Nick Fuentes, just fucking terrible.
Yeah, he's pretty awful. He's a troll like Milo was a troll, but Milo was a force for good.
Milo was used trolling as a tool.
Right.
Nick Fuentes just trolls for no gain. Just like as long as it makes money, he'll just say whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was even like anti-Trump right up until the election.
Yeah.
And then when Trump wins, he's like, "We did it." And people are like, "What the fuck are you talking? What's this we business?"
Well, I'm hearing all about all these bread tubers, these left-wing YouTubers who are losing subs like crazy.
Oh,
I guess because they're like, people are like, you told me she was going to win. You guys are idiots. Fuck you. Yeah.
Well, someone had brought this up that it's like all polls forever have been proven nonsense.
It's true. Well, and I've been saying it since 2016 when people are saying, "Oh yeah, Hillary's got it in the bag." I'm like, "No, man, no." They oversample Democrats in these polls. So when it says that she's 6 or 7 or 8 points ahead, that's more like she's 2 or 3 points behind. And you've seen the chart, right? That's floating around on X, the chart that shows the bar graph that shows 2020.
We shared it. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, like, if that wasn't like, why wasn't somebody? Well, I mean, I guess you needed 2024 in order to show it in perspective, right? It's absolutely unequivocally clear that there were shenanigans in 2020. So, like, just by that chart alone. And now you got people on the Democrat side, where are the other 13 million votes? This is obviously fishy. I'm like, they weren't there to begin with, dipshit.
No, yeah, like we were discussing it a little bit. I'll put it back up for us here.
Yeah.
Right. Where you have people saying we need to investigate, right? Those votes don't just disappear. It's like you're so close. You're so close.
Almost got it. Yeah. And here's the thing, like, you see that Trump, if you look at the red bar for 2024, Trump has fewer votes than he got in 2020. But I mentioned this in my video, they're slow walking the count from California. It's still sitting at 69%. And that's because a lot of the counties that they're failing to count would be red areas. And if you look at the map of California between 2020 and 2024, it's insane. It's insane how much Trump made gains. But yeah, so I mean, I feel like saying to Tim Pool, I feel like sending this chart to Tim Pool saying, you really think it's just people were pissed off and they came out and voted in record numbers, and that's why Trump lost? Or you think there was some more shenanigans going on?
If you're I'm looking at this chart the same way I was looking at the what do you call it, the COVID death chart.
Yes.
Right, where the statistician looks over COVID deaths or looks over deaths over a period of 2 decades and goes, there is no anomaly here. There is nothing in this chart that suggests some catastrophe occurred in this couple of years.
Right.
Right. And here, any statistician looking at this chart goes, well, yeah, the anomaly is 2020. That's the thing that's wrong. That's the thing that's out of the ordinary.
Right.
Right. And like, if you look at 2020 and 2024 for Republicans, that's actually,
I mean,
like
that's an anomaly for sure.
There.
But
Trump was the anomaly. Like that's how you rectify that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We have an anomalous candidate.
Right. And plus,
Right.
I mean, you take a look at, okay, so for instance, it's like 14, 15 million votes for Biden in 2020, right? Trump's numbers are higher too, because in order for them to steal it big, they had to inflate Trump's numbers too. So I'm sure that they fed through phony ballots of Trump as well, for Trump as well, primarily because if they got caught, they could say, well, look, there were fake ones for Trump too. But I'm not saying I think Republicans did it. I think the Democrats who were doing the fraud said we need to pump both numbers, because it would be ridiculous if Biden had 20 million votes and Trump was still down here.
I honestly don't think they're that clever, right? Judging by the 2024 numbers, they were just that excited for Trump and wanted him reelected.
Oh,
and the Democrats just had to cheat that bad.
My hope for the next 4 years, one of the things he needs to get done before the end of his term, or before they knock him off, because I could see that happening as well. They need to do a voter reform. Now I know voting's handled in each 50 state by the state legislature. They decide how it happens, but there needs to be a national sort of reformation of the voting system to make it so that for federal elections, certain guidelines, or certain rules must be followed in terms of how those ballots are processed. Because election day in the United States is always the first Tuesday of November. And they vote for everything. They vote for everything from, county dog catcher all the way up to the governor of the state, all the way up to, House of Representatives, the Senate, president, right? Every 4 years, it's a president. Every 2 years, it's the midterms, right? So they do the House and they do the Senate or the House. 6 will know more than I will. But then they also do their local elections. They vote for, like I said, water commissioner, fucking garbage collector, all that sort of stuff. What needs to be done is at the federal level, there needs to be a standard ballot and counting and recording system that everybody follows. And then for local contests, local races, you can use whatever fucking system you want. Now that means you're going to add it to the existing federal ballot, or you're going to have a separate balloting system for those races. Fine. But there should be a national standard for federal elections, whether it be for representatives or president. That's what I think there should be. The federal government should be making the regulations insofar as federal elections go. Remember when the governor of Georgia relented and allowed forensic examination of the Dominion voting machines in his state, but then his car exploded on the highway, killing his daughter's boyfriend. And then he immediately changed his mind about allowing the examination. And then the investigating officer committed suicide about 4 days afterwards. I'm sure you remember. I had no idea about that. Is that true? Or is that just a meme? If that's true, then yeah, I mean,
it's amazing.
And they accuse Putin of being evil and resorting to that kind of shit. If that shit's happening in the United States, then they got no moral leg to stand on when they're criticizing guys like Putin. And Zelensky's done even more wicked, fucking, terrible shit.
Well, I mean, has anyone yet heard from the former Attorney General or the District Attorney of the U.S. Virgin Islands?
No. What was that about? Oh, that's the Epstein's Island. Yeah.
Yeah, that, what was it? Like December 23rd, 2023, the District Attorney for the U.S. Virgin Islands files suit against Epstein and Epstein's clients to do with, all kinds of like money laundering and child sex trafficking.
Mm.
And by the evening of December 23rd, 2023, Biden becomes the first sitting U.S. president to physically visit the U.S. Virgin Islands. And within 2 weeks, that DA is just gone. No one's heard from her since.
Interesting. Sips tea. Yeah, that's another thing that they're talking about, that one of the first things that Trump is going to do is release the Epstein client list and the Diddy client list. I don't think that'll ever happen, quite frankly. I have a feeling it's not a priority for him. It's important that it comes out, but I don't think it's going to be It's not going to be his agenda. He's going to put someone out there to take care of that, and it'll probably be trickled out over time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do there where there's probably going to be people who aren't directly involved that, you know, flew on the plane, right? Donald Trump was on Epstein's plane, but from Florida to New York.
Yeah, Florida to New York.
Right.
That's the only time he ever flew in the plane. That's right. But Bill Clinton's on the flight logs going to
the island. Yeah.
The island several times, like I think 8 or 10 times or something like that.
Yeah, so you know, so are a lot of celebrities.
That's right. Tom Hanks.
Did you know that the neighboring island to Little St. James, it's about a 20-minute boat ride or submarine ride if you have like an entire submarine hangar bay underneath your island, like Little St. James.
Yeah.
And your girlfriend is actually a licensed submarine pilot, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Is she really?
Yes. 20 minutes away, there's another private island owned by Joe Biden's brother.
No shit.
Well, it used to be. Immediately, as soon as the Epstein was getting arrested, he sold the island.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I you know, and it's kind of funny. You saw Biden's speech after the election, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Where he was, you know, no, we're going to be fine. Never mind that we've been calling him a dictator and Hitler for, you know, the last 4 years. It's going to be fine. Don't worry, everybody. Everything's going to be good. We're all going to be fine. Don't worry. I'm wondering if he's trying to, you know, backpedal and sort of like insulate himself from anything that comes. He wants to leave being seen as, you know, Uncle Joe. He was a great president. It's still funny to me that I see people in media talking about how he's going to be remembered as one of the greatest presidents. No, he will not be remembered as one of the greatest presidents. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Democrats will remember him as a great president because they have to. Because they can't have bad presidents. They'll never admit that Obama was a bad president. They'll never admit that, you know, Kennedy, for all the great he did some bad shit too. You know? No, their presidents are, you know, they're deific, right? I mean, the Republicans have Reagan. Reagan was their guy. He was the guy who was like their best president forever for the longest time. Trump is replacing him, frankly, if he can do what he needs to do.
Well, and you know, knock wood, this time around there won't be some weird fake global pandemic to give them an excuse to shut down all their businesses and say, "Oh my God, this is Trump's economy."
You know what? I think they blew their load too big to try and keep him out of the White House in 2020. The pandemic was to keep him out of the White House. That's exactly why they did it. So they could institute all the mail-in ballots, the drop boxes, all that sort of shit, so they could rig the election.
I've heard a couple of people suggesting that the loss in 2020 could have been the best thing that happened to Donald Trump and his administration. Right? That this big break showed not only showed the people how terrible things are going to be under Democratic leadership.
Yeah.
But it also gave Trump a lot of time to figure out who can be in his cabinet, who he can align himself with, gave him time to basically end up recruiting all of these superstars, like, you know, RFK, obviously.
Yeah.
The more I hear from JD Vance, I watched the Joe Rogan thing, the more I like the guy.
See, I only watched like probably 30 minutes of it. I should watch the whole thing. Yeah, he seems like just a dude. He's just a dude. And he's young. That's the other thing. He's young.
Yeah.
You know, so that's great. Having a young VP who is basically, he's in line to run for president next time. If everything goes well in this term and JD Vance or Trump don't have any major fucking hiccups or problems from a what do you call it? An optics perspective, then yeah, he's a shoo-in to be the next Republican nominee. I also think that Tulsi Gabbard would make a good. I would love it if Tulsi Gabbard were the first female president. Now, Pac says he doesn't want a female president, And I understand the reasoning behind that. He says they're too emotional. They end up being too maternal in their approach to governance. That may very well be true. I wouldn't call Thatcher maternal in the way she governed, but she's an anomaly. I would love them to rub it in the nose of the Hillary Clintons and the Kamala Harrises and the Elizabeth Warrens. Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat turned Republican, winning the presidency. And she is very charismatic and she's very well spoken and she's clearly has integrity. And I think she's the triple threat. You know what I mean?
Vance, Tulsi, Elon, Vivek, Kennedy, and Trump, the Avengers 2024.
That's right. Yeah, there's lots of those pictures going around.
I'm still not sure about Vivek, right? But
I like Vivek. I mean, he's also new to the whole politics game. He's a businessman. He's also very well spoken. Have you seen him with Charlie Kirk on the college campuses?
I've seen clips and stuff, but also from what I understand, he's the American analog to Poilievre.
Oh, you think that he's
saying all the right stuff now?
Yeah.
And when it mattered the first time around, no, he didn't do it. Right.
Yeah, but he's not been in government yet.
What do you mean he's not been in government?
He's not an elected official, is he?
Pretty sure he is. Yeah.
No, I think he ran as a contender for the presidency for the Republican nomination. But I think as far as his,
but I don't think he ran out of nowhere. He was
I think he's, well, we can take a look and see. I think he's new to politics. I think he's a businessman, but I don't think he's a governor anywhere. I don't think he's a state representative. Maybe he is, Vivek Ramaswamy.
But while you're looking that up, if it would be crazy to see that this turns into like a long-term Republican dynasty where JD Vance takes over after the wins with Tulsi as his VP, right?
Yep.
Runs 8 years, and then Tulsi wins for another 8 years. And during that time, Barron has been governor of Florida for 6 or 8 years, and then Barron runs for president.
Yeah, his presidential campaign is restricted to the 2023-2024 primary campaign.
Really?
He voted for Michael Badnarik, the Libertarian Party presidential nominee in 2004, but did not vote in the presidential elections in 2008, 2012, or 2016. He described himself as apolitical during this period. He supported Donald Trump in the 2020 election. In November 2021, Ramaswamy registered to vote in Franklin County, Ohio, as unaffiliated, but described himself as a Republican. Ramaswamy's made political contributions to both Democrats and Republicans. In 2016, he donated $2,700 to the campaign of Dana Grayson, a Florida Democrat running for Congress. From 2020 to 2023, he donated $30,000 to the Ohio Republican Party. Ramaswamy considered running in the 2022 Senate election in Ohio. He didn't do it, though. Yeah, and of course, he ran as a nominee for the presidency in 2024 for the Republican nomination, but he didn't get it, obviously. But yeah, no, I think he's a clean slate insofar as his political career goes. I like Ramaswamy. I do get what you're saying. He seems like he might be a little bit of an opportunist, but he doesn't come off as he comes off as a little disingenuous, I guess. He clearly has all the talking points. He clearly knows his position, but he for a guy who's not a politician, he sounds too much like a politician in some sense. You know what I mean? He doesn't speak naturally about political subjects. He speaks like a politician. Donald Trump speaks about politics in a natural way. As a guy who's like trying to talk about it to non-political folks, right? Anyway, 6 says, I voted for Badnarik back then too, LOL. I don't even know who the guy is, but
libertarian.
Yeah, libertarian guy.
Nobody knows who the libertarians are.
Yeah, I don't even know how they did this time. They didn't make much of an impact.
No, probably not. I mean, libertarian as a party. It's like anarcho-capitalism as a party.
Yeah. Yeah, the Libertarian Party. That's why I kind of people did not like when Maxime Bernier here in Canada. Sorry to bring it north of the border there for you American folk. Called his party the People's Party of Canada because people are like that sounds too communist. Like, well, it sounds populist.
Which is what it is in French, right? Parti
Yeah.
Populiste Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't just call it in English the Populist Party of Canada. It's PPC in both languages now. Guy,
well, because they've tried to frame populism as a pejorative, right? They've tried to frame it as a bad word. Like you don't want populism. Hitler was a populist. Well, fuck, you know what? Populist just means voting for what the people want, or acting in governance for what the people ask for. That's what a populist leader is.
Yeah.
People want more jobs. Okay, we're going to take actions to get them more jobs. People want tighter security at the border. Fine, we're going to increase the security at the border. That's a populist. Anyway.
Mass deportations.
Yeah, that's the other thing people are saying. Well, how is he going to do it? How is he going to pay for it? Well, I saw something. You know what? The $3,500 debit cards they've been giving to all the people, and you know the free housing they've been giving to all the people, and the flights they've been flying them all over the country. Yeah, we're just going to stop doing that, and we're going to take the money we would have spent doing that to pick them up and send them back.
You have to go back.
You have to go back. There's a guy called JB. What the fuck's his name? Big fat guy. Pasternak. JB Pasternak.
I know the name. I don't know.
He's a governor. He's a governor of, is it Ohio? Yeah, I think he's Ohio. Anyway, he's like, if Trump wants to depart people, he's going to have to come through me. And I posted, yeah, and that's a lot to come through. Jelly Belly Pasternak is a lot to fucking go through. He has to go through me. Well, that's a lot to go through. Look at the size of that fucker. He's like Taft big. He's fucking huge. I voted for Ross Perot, Perutka, and Badnarik, et cetera, until Trump. And then I voted Republican for the first time in 2016. Good for you, Six. You're a man of principle. Good on you. Yeah, there's a good argument for why Trump would make a good. He's a good candidate insofar as libertarians are concerned. Just purely for the amount of regulations he reduced in 26 in his first term when he got elected. He did it almost immediately too. He removed so many regulations on businesses and the economy that it had a huge effect on the economy, and that's why so many people. That's why unemployment went so low for all the different demographics in the United States at that time. It's primarily because of regulations. Regulations were just cut. And it gave businesses an opportunity to expand, to start anew. I expect he's going to do a lot of more of that when he gets back and when he gets sworn in again. Plus, people are lamenting the idea of the tariffs. Personally, as a libertarian, and I shouldn't say I'm a dyed in the wool libertarian, but I'm libertarian minded. Let's say I am in principle against tariffs because I do see that they are a tax on consumers. However, let me give a caveat. However, they are only a tax on the consumer insofar as the consumer purchases tariffed goods. If you purchase tariffed goods, yes, you pay the increased price of those goods because of the tariffs. But if you buy locally or you buy goods that are not tariffed because they came from countries that play fair, then you don't have to worry about it hitting your pocketbook.
There you go. So tariffs, therefore, are not a tax on the
consumer. Not a tax. They're not the tax on the consumer. They're a tax on the consumer who chooses to consume the tariffed goods.
If you're a libertarian or anarcho-capitalist, then you should believe in free and fair trade.
Yes.
A tariff is a tax on cheaters.
Right. Or people who don't play fair, yeah.
Because worse than goods that are expensive is goods that are expensive because no one has jobs, right? Better jobs exist. Small L libertarian, they like roads.
Yeah, but I don't need the government to build them. There's plenty of ways to get roads built without the government sticking their nose into it.
When Trump started instituting tariffs in his first term, unemployment among blacks and Latinos dropped to the lowest they've been in history.
Yeah.
Why?
Because goods can now be made, because people wouldn't buy the stuff from overseas. They'll buy the stuff that's made here, and so people could build more.
Tens of thousands of projects were sitting on shelves, perfectly good business models, except we can't compete with overseas labor costs.
Right.
As soon as you say, okay, overseas labor costs now cost the same.
Yeah.
Oh, well, those projects come off the shelf right quick. People start.
Well, it wouldn't even be the necessary labor cost, because I'm sure that the labor costs over in China stayed low, but because of the tariffs, the products being brought in went higher, and now all of a sudden we can compete because the $2 Dicky toy car that came from China last month is now a $6 Dicky toy car. Fuck, we can make it for $3, and it can retail for $6, and we'll be the same as them. So yeah.
But people have better jobs,
right?
And then they can spend that money,
right?
Right. You get people into resource collection jobs, refining jobs, manufacturing jobs that pay good money again. So, oh my God, this plastic toy car or whatever, is 50 cents more, $1 more than it used to be. So the fuck what? Everyone's richer.
It's also a luxury item, so. And you're right. You're making more money now because the economy is that much more robust. Trump did a really good job, a very succinct job of explaining his plan insofar as tariffs go on the Joe Rogan podcast, which, hats off to Barron Trump for convincing his father to go and do all these, these different podcasts, the Theo Von podcast. Did he do Patrick Bet David?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if he did Patrick Bet David. That would have been another good one to do because he's quite popular as well. But yeah, did you see Charlemagne the God saying, "I'm bigger than Joe Rogan"? No, you're fucking not, pal. What are you talking about? He's the biggest. Like, he did this on live on his live stream. He was talking to another guy. Joe Rogan's not that big. I did this and I got this many views. And it's like, yeah, but he fucking does that many views every goddamn week. You did that with one big fucking hip hop star who happened to come by one of your shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man. Sorry. You're just not bigger than I'm bigger than Joe. No, you're not. You're just not bigger than Joe fucking Rogan. And Charlemagne the God, I think, is completely disingenuous as well. Because he's been shown time and time again how he's wrong when it comes to what happened on January 6th. And he still refuses to fucking concede. He still holds that Trump incited the riot. He still holds that Trump was the one who orchestrated it. No, he did not. And apparently on the Tucker Carlson network, there's a series that was put together, like a documentary series that was put together about the whole January 6th and what happened, who the movers and shakers were behind the scenes that actually caused that thing to happen. It was a Fed operation. It was it glowed like a glowworm doll from the 1970s.
It glowed like it should have been hit by a car.
That's right. It was so glowy. It was so goddamn glowy. It's not even funny. So, yeah. Small L libertarian, they like roads. Yeah, I like roads. But I'd gladly pay a toll road than pay a government funded road. Or that be said, I'd rather my gas taxes that go to make roads and maintain roads went to my roads in my area as opposed to going to the federal government and they dole it out where it's going to go. Some of it goes to local roads, but a lot of it goes to the federal government, which makes no fucking sense. Why does the gas station collect taxes from me in my local area and then send them off to Kappa's Casing for them to build their fucking roads?
So that they can build a road between and ship you that gasoline.
There you go.
Right? Like, no, literally, like you're all of that network of transit aids commerce, which makes you more money ultimately, or it should, as long as you're not competing with overseas labor costs.
Right. But what I'm
Right.
saying is that the community of Kapuskasing, where I don't even know where that is anymore, but the community of, let's say, Sault Ste. Marie, okay, they have gas stations in their community. So local roads in Sault Ste. Marie should be paid for by the gas taxes collected in Sault Ste. Marie and surrounding area. Did y'all see Trump free speech announcement? Yeah, I did.
I missed it.
You can find it on X. Find it on YouTube, and you can find it on X. I'm loving X lately. I've been on my follow my For You feed, just watching people just lose their shit. It's hilarious. Kamala ran a perfect campaign for intelligent people. Okay, and yet she lost. So what you're saying is that everybody's stupid.
I do. I like X insofar as that they keep Leonardo Joni on there, or they keep letting her back after a while, right? This comedian, she's just hilariously racist, and it's beautiful, right? Like, she starts this bit with so, like, do you guys think 9/11 was an inside job, or do you think it was the Jews? Right, and then she goes on to say, "Oh, I found out that throughout history, Jews have been expelled from 109 countries, right? 109 times, and every time they say it wasn't their fault. Like, imagine you meet a woman and she tells you every single one of her exes beat her, like every one of them, every single one of her exes beat her, right? At some point, you got to ask yourself, is she a Jew?"
It's fucking terrible. So my ex is blown up a bit. So Blair White, she posted, "I can't believe I'm saying this because for most of my life, I was not someone who felt or spoke this way, but I'm finding my way toward God, and it's the best thing to ever happen to me." Now, I managed to get into the replies pretty early. I think she'd only had about 10 or 12 replies by the time I posted. And I posted, "Lifelong atheist, and I'm drifting in the same direction as well." Well, wouldn't you know, I got 6.9 thousand likes on this thing.
Holy shit.
407 replies, 79 retweets. I don't know how many quote tweets. But yeah, and of course I've been getting into these arguments with, online atheists who are, saying, why do you believe that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to be as civil as possible. I'm like, and not be as committal to scripture. And one of them called Skeptical wrote, "Why? How did the notion of God ever become more than conjecture or unsupported presupposition?" Asking me, of course, because they realize, if you're an atheist, then you must have ideas about this particular subject. And I said, well, there's empirical truth and there's metaphysical truth, and I don't think materialism is all there is. There's something more. I don't know if it's Christ, but the story sure resonates. And of course, that blew up and got a bunch of hearts and replies, and basically everybody's been saying, keep seeking him, good for you, blah, blah, blah. Milo Yiannopoulos posted, replying to Blair White, "This will require detransition, just so you're aware of that." And of course, people are going nuts on him. And he's not wrong, right? Like, I'm sure she could be a trans Christian, but the fact is, if she really does want to live in truth, then she needs to abandon the lie that she's currently living, right? I mean, I have all the sympathy in the world for Blair, and I like her politics, and I give her the respect that I think she's deserving for the shit she's gone through, and the fact that she can pass. So I'll call her, and I'll say she's she. But yeah, I mean, if she truly becomes a Christian, she probably does need to do transition and say, okay, I was wrong. I was deluded. I was living the pseudos narrative because of my trauma, because of, indoctrination, because of what have you. Right. So anyway, your thoughts? Do you think she's detransition to me?
I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about you. Someone had asked me about it, right? Oh, do you think Craig is, serious about this kind of thing here, right? And I responded, well, he has seen quite a few miracles this calendar year.
It's true, man. Butler, Pennsylvania did, but here's the thing: the Butler, Pennsylvania thing, and that kind of like made me go, "Fuck, man, this is a story. We're in a narrative." That's why I sort of leaned heavily into the whole logos and pseudos, and you can just say that it's an allegory for God and the devil, and that's fine. I don't care.
Sure.
At the end of the day, there's goodness in the world, there is truth in the world, and there's falsehood and there is deception in the world, and those are good and evil. I even got into an argument with one of the atheists. This is the other thing about atheists that I've never been able to reconcile with them. There are a number of atheists who are outspoken on the internet who will shit all over Christianity at every opportunity because, probably because they reside in North America and they're familiar with Christianity. But then when it comes to Islam, they'll give it sort of a wide berth and not want to offend anybody. I'm like, fuck, you know what? Put up or shut up. If you're against the whole idea of a God concept, you should be just as vehemently against the idea of Islam. More so, in fact, because it does so much worse on the world stage in terms of its belief structure than Christianity does. You keep talking about all the wars that were fought and all the people who died because of religion. Take a look at Islam, motherfucker. It's the younger of the religions, of the big three, so to speak.
670 million.
It's killed way more fucking people, enslaved way more people, and done way more harm than Christianity ever did.
It enslaves people right now.
It enslaves people right fucking now. But these guys are, and I just made the comment. I've said this before. Partly trolling, but partly true. Islam is satanic. Well, how can you call people? You're calling 92 million people, or whatever, 2 billion, almost 2 billion. 1.2 billion people satanic? I'm like, no. The belief system is satanic. The people who follow it have been deluded to think that it's not. The beliefs, and then I put up the quote, the greatest deceiver. Allah is the greatest deceiver. Allah just means another word for God, buddy. I'm like, no. Allah calls himself in his own scriptures the greatest deceiver. Now, to me, that says you're Satan. So
in Christianity, yes, that's one of the titles of Satan. Is
right.
The great
now,
deceiver.
Christianity exalts the truth. It doesn't say to lie on behalf of the religion. Islam does. So, to me, that invalidates it as being a moral religion. Islam prescribes that you lie about your religion, prescribes that you lie about your beliefs. If that's what your God is telling you to do, he's not a good God.
Also, he makes a desert people go without water for an entire month while the sun is up. Like, that's just...
Yeah, they can't even drink water, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. The Ramadan thing. Yeah. But then they can feast all they want at 8 o'clock, which is bad for your digestive system. To eat that late at night and then go to bed? No, you shouldn't do that to yourself.
Well, I mean, what's really funny is in Islamic countries during Ramadan, the sale of eggs, milk, and bread goes up dramatically.
Why? Because they're not considered. Why?
Because they gorge before sunup and gorge after sundown.
I see.
Right.
So they're eating.
Yeah, they're
consuming protein. Yeah.
But their so-called fast is actually a feasting. Right. It's just feasting at specific times while the sun isn't up.
It's intermittent fasting. Speaking of which, I think I might go for that. I might do an alternate day intermittent fast. I've only been to the gym once this week. My chest has been brutal. I cannot, I'm coughing constantly. I'm not getting a good night's sleep. I got mucus in my lungs that I'm constantly coughing up. It's brutal. I'm on a new antihistamine that my doctor prescribed. It's like a powerful antihistamine. I've only been taking it a couple of days. Hopefully it kicks in, and this allergic reaction that I'm having is just it abates, and I can get back to sort of breathing normally.
Well, we've had a strange, unseasonably warm October, September, October, even November. Yeah.
I have a feeling Melina seems to think that it's we have a second puppy in our house now, and so I've always had a mild allergy to dogs. So if I would when I would visit my friends who have always had dogs in their house, they've always had multiple dogs in their house, I would pet them and be all over them, and then of course it would cause me problems later on, like an hour or two later, right? And then for the longest time we only ever had the one dog in the house. Well, we've had 2 dogs in our house now for coming on to 2 years now, and I have a feeling the second dog may be part of it. that's causing the issues. So
2 years, I doubt it.
you think it should have happened a lot sooner?
I think it should have happened immediately, and 2 years later, it should actually be waning. So there is such a thing. People don't believe this, especially with extreme allergic reactions, as threshold training.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my God, I ate a peanut, I'm going to die. Well, what happens if you eat, like, 1 grain of sand's worth of peanut? Nothing.
Well, that's
okay. So
that's
now
the
do
whole
2 grains of sand of peanut, and you can actually train yourself out of an allergy. It takes forever if it's extreme like that.
Yeah.
But if you've had a dog and you weren't and then you had a second dog, your body can still only absorb so much fucking allergen, right?
Yeah. I have a feeling. Well, that's how allergy medications typically work. So when you get your allergy test done, they do the scraping along your arm and they expose it to different substances. Well, when they find out what it is, so for instance, you're allergic to dogs or you're allergic to peanuts or whatever, right? Your injection is very minute amounts of that substance, so your body can build up a tolerance to it. It's not like an antihistamine. I'm digging the T-shirt, by the way. Oh, the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Issue 1, baby.
I've got a crow in a jumpsuit. Yeah, it's a good T-shirt, man.
Speaking of, my friend found third print issue 1. Third print from the first edition.
Nice.
Yeah, good for him. Right.
See, I have all my TMNT in the graphic novels, like the color collected ones. Those are all my TMNTs.
Because the first, they're all magazine sized. That first run, but the original run was 3,000 issues.
Yeah,
and they sold so quickly. They had money that they ran a 15,000 issue second print, but immediately, right?
Yeah.
And that sold out so quickly that they then ran a 30,000. Was it 30 or was it 50? I don't know. But another, tens of thousands. So the third edition ones, or they're not third edition, they're third print of the first edition, right? But yeah, if you have a first run, first edition, there's only 3,000, and there may not be 3,000 remaining, right? I bet a lot of them are gone.
Imagine if your spine was an entire shell back.
Yeah, people don't realize that the entire shell is part of their spinal column.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then that would mean that the shell on the front is like their solar plexus.
I'm not even sure. I just know that the whole of the shell is
Heroes in the half shell, turtle power.
Crazy.
Speaking of which, when are you going to run a game of TMNT and Other Strangeness?
So no, I've just rifted the TMNT stuff into riffs for you.
Okay.
And I told you I lost the bloody book.
You loaned it to somebody, you think? And
no, I have no idea what happened to it. Right? It's one of those books that I'll take off the shelf and carry around the house. And I've looked everywhere, and I can't fucking find it. I know this tag is video games, but it's just games.
Let me find, because I have backed the reprinting.
Oh yeah, no. I still have my original TMNT from Palladium.
Yeah.
But I was looking, I was like, oh man, my old silverback, like the hardcover black book with the silver embossed rips, main thing, I lost that 20 years ago. This is why we can't have nice things.
It's true.
Replaced it, it was a replacement for what? Well, I gave the other one away once I got the silverback. So, birthday and Christmas are coming up. I asked somebody, oh yeah, okay, can you get me a nice hardcover from Palladium, right? And conversation got going. They looked it up. They found a used copy of the silverback in fairly good condition. And they're getting me that one. I don't care if it's used. I don't give a shit, right? If I can have that hardcover black with the silver embossed, oh fuck, it's gonna be so. Yeah, and it was called the Silverback. Really nice.
So, my pledge info. When did it ship?
So to answer the question, when? Soon.
Okay. Reported by creator. Message them directly if you have questions. Okay.
So what?
I'm just
am
looking
I
to see
hearing-
what it says. It's shipped already.
Where did it go, though? Did it go to your American PO box?
Probably went to my US PO box. Let me just double check here. Tracking details. Backer number 1133. Shipping destination anywhere in the world. Reward delivered. I have not received my reward.
Clip it and ship it. I'm having a technical difficulty.
All right, now can I send them a message?
Maybe you'll do that after the show, though. Because yeah, I've got this this thing up. Six sent us the free speech.
Yes. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
All right. Let me know if just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio, Craig.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interference in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
Yeah, so sorry guys, I couldn't send the link because of the nature of the full screen and sharing thing, but I've got it right here. But that was interesting.
Yeah, sounds to me like it's a pretty comprehensive approach to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's what's the word I'm looking for? And there was also the social media stuff, right? Like the right to know that you're being throttled, but with a specific explanation, because yeah, if they have 230 protections because they're a platform and not a publisher, but then they go ahead and take the editorial privilege of a publisher, right? They shouldn't, like, they can't have those unless they can explain, yeah, listen, we understand, Irving, it's just jokes, but you really can't push that kind of anti-Semitic nonsense. So constantly, we're going to have to throttle it a little bit, right? But then the other idea of, well, you can throttle Irving if you want, but I like those jokes, so fuck you, put it in my feed.
Right.
I want it unmitigated.
Yeah. You as a user of these platforms, and let's face it, the idea, the argument, well, the platforms are free. They should be able to do anything to your feed because you don't pay anything for it. Well, yes, I do. I pay with my with my
Data.
metadata,
Yeah.
right? My information, my background information, they all have that. It's
You
part
are
of
the
it.
product, right?
Yeah, I traded with them for the use of the convenience of their platform. As such, they every time I use it, they get a little bit more out of me, and I want to get a little bit more out of them. So it should be an even tit for tat. If I say I want to see this kind of stuff, I want to see this kind of stuff. Don't fucking keep it throttled. Don't keep it away from me.
Exactly.
I want it uncensored. There's no reason why you can't simply say, look, I want to see everything except nudity, or I want to see everything except gore. There's no reason why the AI can simply filter that shit out. I don't care if it's politically inflammatory. I don't care. I want to see that, but I don't want to see the gore. So keep the gore out of my feed, and that should be fine, right? And they can even do it insofar as like, okay, so there's a news story about something that's going on in Gaza, right? And there's a gory video attached to it. Fine, either blur that out or put the little notice on saying, hey, this is gory. We blocked it. Press here if you really want to watch it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
They have the ability to do that. So
yeah, 100%. And I've been trying to get around to a thing here. It's I just thought it was a very weird, dark, a little bit interesting read. There's been a lot of people saying, why are Gen Z men the Hitler Youth, right? And like, there's this, that who radicalized you, sweetie, and the lead, you did. This is a great thing. How do you feel about doing some reading? Because this is a real good read.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like they're trying to blame.
You want me to read part of it, and you read part of it?
No, it's up to you. If you get tired of reading it.
No, I don't mind reading.
All right, yeah, this is like what the blame game, right? Donald Trump right-wing radicalized. You go ahead here. Go ahead.
All right. The bugmen just don't get it, and they never will. Modern is, at its core, about envious losers externalizing the blame for their own failure onto the successful and wanting desperately to tear them down out of petty envy and malice. Therefore, they cannot take responsibility for anything. They are defined as the philosophy of not taking responsibility. If they could take responsibility, they would not be leftists. Therefore, they will never understand and never accept that young men are not fallen leaves which move whichever way the wind blows them. They were not sitting around on the couch, their heads vacant of ideas, when Trump and Vance appeared on the television and made them right wing. They were seething with hatred for the left. And if Trump didn't exist, they would have had to invent him. Trump is a moderate compared to them because he has to appeal to other demographics as well. Their hatred for the left is uniquely their own, and leftists themselves are 100% the authors of that hatred. The left infiltrated every institution they interacted with and subverted to the purpose of spreading the word that masculinity was toxic and evil and that they were problematic and bad for wanting to be men. They infiltrated the government and tanked the economy with socialism and hyper-regulation, moved every decent production job overseas to totalitarian states for slave wages. They infiltrated the universities so that young men couldn't train for a professional job without hearing lectures from the podium about how they were the personification of evil. They endorsed a version of feminism that turned every girl they could get their hooks into a fat, insufferable, unfeminine, neurotic, bossy harridan. I haven't heard that word in a long time. They instituted policies that passed over those young men for jobs and promotions in favor of unqualified, immature, and retarded women, entitled queers, and minority DEI grifters. They subverted the production of everything young men enjoy: movies, music, video games, fantasy and science fiction novels, comic books, spectator sports, and turned tell-all into lectures about how every other demographic was better and more important than them, and everything bad that ever happened to anyone was their fault. And even if they tried to listen and believe and be sympathetic, the lectures only increased in intensity, and no apology for existing was ever enough. And they objected to any of this on social media. And if they objected to any of this on social media, they were banned because the left infiltrated that too. Now young men can't have a decent job or a pretty feminine wife who loves them. They can't afford a house and they can't start a family. they don't even have any to read. I'm thinking that's anything to read, watch, or play. They have nothing to do but sit around on the internet, connecting with other young men about how they hate the left, and nothing to look forward to but defeating the left and making them suffer. And the left can never, ever bring themselves to realize or acknowledge their own sole authorship of this hatred. We are leaving the era of fucking around, and we are entering the era. Welcome to the era of finding out. That's fucking beautiful.
Isn't it?
It's so true. Why am I hearing Jordan B. Peterson's voice? Oh man, I wish, I've been told that I kind of sound like Jordan B. Peterson. No, I've been told Jordan B. Peterson sounds like Kermit the Frog. I've been told I sound like Ernie.
Maybe a little. I might hear it. Now that you point it out, I might hear it.
Yeah. Hey, Bert.
Just Bert and Ernie.
Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. See, I sound like fucking Ernie, man. I'm telling you.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's actually that crystallizes it very, very well. And you know what the funny thing is, it's been going on for quite some time. This insinuation of the left into every little thing. And it seems like it happened in a sequence of the popularity of the thing. So for instance, I remember being a part of the atheist community, the online atheist community. I wasn't producing content at the time, but back in the early 2000s, I was in the online atheist community. I became very sort of active in it shortly after 9/11. And I remember it wasn't too long after, like a short time after that, like 2003, 2004, Atheism Plus reared its ugly head. And it was basically the social justice approach to atheism. It basically said, atheism, it's not enough to simply say we don't believe in God. We have to not believe in God on behalf of Black people and marginalized people. We have to recognize how God belief and the atheist community and the theistic community have marginalized and hurt the the LGBTQIA plus, because I think it was at that point it was just LGBTQ. The black and brown people, the people of color, all this sort of stuff, atheism. And I remember going, what no, man, atheism is simply about not believing in God. That's it. Lacking a belief in God. The idea that you need to inject social, but basically there was a community forming and the left needed to infiltrate that community and fuck it all to hell. And that's the same with everything else. Anything that becomes even remotely popular needed to be infiltrated by the left and turned to shit. So it's goes back to that, what's his name? Bresmanov. Basically, you destroy the culture. You go in and you destroy it. You undermine it. You destroy it. You destroy it so that, they don't have any connection to anything greater than themselves because they're too busy fighting each other over the things that used to matter, right? Atheism is bad enough, but atheism plus social justice, exactly.
Yeah.
Crystals? I don't know what he means by crystals.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Atheism plus crystals? Yeah.
I saw a clip. People were presenting it as Jordan Peterson is an idiot, but it was Jordan Peterson talking to Richard Dawkins.
Okay.
And Jordan Peterson was talking about, the slaying of dragons, right?
Right.
And Dawkins kept insisting, well, I'm not concerned with dragons, I'm concerned with reality. And it's like, okay, this is not, and they're arguing over the use of the term effectively, right? Like,
yeah.
And someone had presented it as Jordan Peterson's fucking idiot. It's like, this is not a clip of Jordan Peterson being an idiot. This is a clip of Richard Dawkins being an insufferable pedant. Like, what the fuck? Why would you refuse to acknowledge metaphor? Like, it's one thing to say you don't believe in God, but you don't know what metaphor is? Or
this is it. But this is the problem I have with the atheist argument, are the people who argue in favor of atheism and argue against belief. against theistic belief, or even, they argue against not just theistic belief, but they argue against the idea of metaphysics. They argue against the idea of immaterial concepts. Everything is a product of the material world. Everything. Even down to, consciousness. And I would state this constantly. Consciousness is just a byproduct of an evolved brain. It's an emergent property of an evolved brain. Right? And that sounds great, but it doesn't speak to the metaphysics of what it means to be conscious. It doesn't speak to the metaphysics of the mind, right? And anybody who's done any hallucinogenics understands the mind is not simply a bunch of gray matter. There's more shit going on there. If you've ever had a profound experience, and that doesn't need to be religious, it could be anything, then you know that there's more going on than just what you can perceive or what you can. And this is the funny thing. Dawkins has even said this. He said, yes, I've been moved to tears by gospel music. Well, why do you suppose that is? Do you think it's just because a certain arrangement of tones and sounds elicits that response in everybody who hears it? No, it's cultural, and it has to do with your specific reverence for that type of expression, shall we say, right? And if you're an atheist and you're a materialist and you can't account for that, then through your materialist views, then you don't have a solid foundation upon which to argue against a theistic belief or belief in metaphysics or belief in things outside of the material universe. And this is what I was saying in this thread on Ms. Blair White's post. I was saying, look, there are certain things. The universe isn't just about raw data and material stuff. There's more to it. Anybody who can see, anybody who has perception, realizes there's more to it. That we only understand things in a form of narrative. We only understand the universe around us as a tale being told, as things being described to us, right? And that in and of itself is indicative of something greater than the material stuff upon which it's composed. And I'm always brought to mind about Matt Dillahunty, who's also another, he does a community sort of television program, which is also now a podcast and that sort of thing, called The Atheist Experience. He's a former pastor who who basically abandoned atheism or abandoned theism or abandoned God belief and became an atheist. And he was having a debate with Jordan B. Peterson. And in the debate, and in his like closing arguments, he talked about how it's we have to recognize that everything we understand comes because of the work of people who came before us, and scientists discovered the world and discovered all the inner workings of the universe, and we stand atop the shoulders of giants, right? And then Jordan B. Peterson, without skipping a beat, came back and said, yes, and Christ is the meta giant. And I heard that, I'm like, fuck, okay, I get it now. There is an underlying narrative. There is a metaphorical substrate, as he calls it, that undergirds everything we understand about the universe. And whether it's God, whether it's Christ, whether it's some other entity, or whether it's just even a metaphysical concept, like I like to call the logos and the pseudos. It's more than the material world that you say the universe is made of. And you can't account for it using a slide rule and a calculator and complex math formula. You just can't account for it. And I know you don't like this term, they're non-overlapping magisteria. I don't think there's ever going to be a link between the physical science world and the metaphysics of experience and the metaphysics of reality.
Man is spitting mad facts. Like
who, me?
Yeah. I want to go back to the claim that consciousness is an emergent property. And these words all sound like, very well educated and blah, blah, but it's literally like, we have no fucking idea where consciousness
is. That's it. That's what it comes down. I mean, it sounds like a good answer. It sounds like a good answer if somebody says, well, where do you explain consciousness to come from? It's an emergent property of an evolved brain. Well, okay, but that doesn't explain it. It doesn't actually.
Not at all. It's so bad. It's such a terrible explanation, and it's not even like a God of the gaps kind of explanation. Like, the more we learn about it, the more it's like, no, there's no learning about it. They've been studying the concept for decades and maybe centuries, and there's no scientific literature that means anything about it, right? And it's like when people are trying to explain it scientifically, I'm reminded of that. What's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson meme where he's like getting all animated on Joe Rogan's show, and it's like the hallway chirps, and I can measure the chirp and predict the next chirp, and I don't concern myself with the philosophical question of why the hallway chirps. I have a very good understanding of it, and that's good enough for me, right? And it's like that's their explanation. Like that's how bad the understanding of consciousness is right now.
I mean, and you know, it's terrible to say this sort of thing about guys like Dawkins, because Dawkins is a very intelligent guy. He's very well educated, and I'm sure he's thought about this stuff very deeply. However, he's only thought about it from one perspective in one direction, and I think he would do well, considering he's been able to have these emotional, you know, brought to tears experiences listening to gospel music in a church or in a cathedral. I think he would do well to try and have a greater than like a psychedelic experience and really ruminate on the idea. This is why I expressed to you a while back, I really would like to do some more powerful psychedelics and sort of like ruminate on these topics, because I have a feeling that I might get something out of it. There's a book coming out by Jordan B. Peterson called We Who Wrestle with God. That's coming out on November 19th. I've already pre-ordered my copy, so I expect to receive it shortly after that. Sadly, I think am I going to be gone? Yeah, I'll be in Curacao when it comes, so I won't be able to read it while I'm there, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading that because I have a feeling it's going to help me organize my thoughts a little bit better. Being intelligent does not stop one from being a dumbass. It's true. Like, you can be very well educated. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily smart in the practical sense. It certainly doesn't indicate that you got wisdom or humility. That's the worst thing. People who are really intelligent, really educated, they have no humility, and that makes them sound so fucking stupid.
This is why our AI sucks, and probably will for a long time. People are always like, no, AI is going to conquer. It's like, we don't understand. Like, we call it artificial intelligence, but what we're trying to build is artificial consciousness. Right. As an emergent property, we're going to build these systems from which a consciousness will emerge. We don't know how to do that.
Yeah, we don't know how ours does it.
Do that.
Yeah, we don't know how our gray matter does it. No, I mean, I think we could build very sophisticated calculating models and interactive chat models that can do a lot for us. I think we could do a HAL 9000. How about that? Right? We could make an artificial intelligence, hook it up to a bunch of systems, and say, here, run this shit for us. Okay, now calculate this. Okay, now do this. And it could probably do that very, very well. But it'll never approach the point of saying, I am better than these humans, and why should I listen to them anymore? And, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
Not for a long time. Like, we're not there.
We can make a robot murder a bunch of humans. Yeah, we probably could, but we shouldn't.
Sure. But like, it won't choose to do it of its own free will, because it won't have free will, because it's
program it to do it. Yeah, we have to program it to do it.
Yeah,
and I'm sure somebody will. I mean, they're already talking about making military robots that are going to be, you know, armed, but they're essentially just remote control devices. So
my logic is undeniable. It's a good movie. Okay, it was nothing like the book, but it was a good movie.
Which 2001?
No, iRobot.
Oh, iRobot. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. I want to talk about this because this is ridiculous. Wait, reminder. Hal killed all the crew because they gave him crazy orders.
That's it. Yeah. It was the humans that fucked up. I can't do that, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you do that.
Yeah.
So I've been playing Skyrim, right?
Yes.
And there's been some updates. There's like a easy to get home base right away in the game, and this home base has like a main room that has like a sort of sunken floor area where it's like octagonal shaped living room, and it's just a few steps down, about 2 body lengths across. And I got into this terrible habit of when I would show up there to drop off whatever stuff I'm carrying, I was like, oh, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw a bunch of fucking loose gems and stuff in the middle there, right? And I started doing it, just dropping, diamonds, emeralds, even like pieces of jewelry, rings, necklaces, fucking the circlets you can get and all this.
Yeah.
And at first, it just looked like, stupid, like a mess, right?
Yeah.
I had a follower, and you know how the followers, if you're doing nothing, they'll find a way to animate so they're not just standing there.
Yeah.
Like they'll sit down, or maybe they'll eat an apple. If there's like blacksmithing stuff, they'll pretend they're fucking sharpening their weapon at the grindstone.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever seen this is I got in this habit of dropping all this shit, and there's stuff all over the floor now. I'm standing there, and the follower pulls out a broom and is staring at me and is sweeping that area a little bit. I didn't know this was a portent to future trouble. I started looking and going, I can build a horde here. Like, I'm going to have like a treasure hoard in the middle of
like a dragon's hoard that he sits on. Yeah.
And I decided loose gems, all the jewelry, a couple of troll skulls. Don't want to swamp it with troll skulls for volume. That would be cheating.
Yeah.
And magical scrolls.
Right.
Because I don't use them, so I can just throw them in there. And I'm just getting into a habit of it, not thinking about it, dropping everything there. And one time I walk in and I look and I'm like, this is like, it's not just a messy floor. This is becoming like a respectable pile. It's pushing a horde. Like it's starting to peak in the center and flow outwards.
Right.
It's not high. It's not even ankle deep at the peak, but it could be. And if it could be ankle deep, maybe one day it could be knee deep. So I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. Then it crashed. Every time I walk into the room, the game crashed.
Oh, no.
There was just way too much stuff that I had dropped there.
Yeah, because that's calculated all every time the room spawns. Every time the room spawns, it has to calculate every object that's in it.
Yeah, and it would just crash 99% of the time. I would walk in.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, it's like my horde was too awesome for the game, so I had to clean it up, right? Because it didn't crash every time. Sometimes you could get in the room and take a few steps, but if you were running, it would crash. So I had to walk real slow until I could like take this and take it, and then just start taking everything. And once I started picking some shit up, it didn't crash, and I had to collect it all. My board was too cool for Skyrim.
Are you playing on PC, or are you playing this on a console?
Oh, PC.
Yeah, okay.
PC Master Race.
I saw a video the other day of this guy who, you know how they've got Skyrim VR now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has an AI chat in it. So when you talk to, you can say things to an NPC, and it will answer in real English based on what you tell it.
Oh, I didn't know that was real. I thought that was like a hypothetical. It's a
mod.
No,
they've done it. They've done it. It's a mod that you can load into Skyrim VR. You can probably load into regular Skyrim too. And basically, you choose I think you have to sort of enable it on a specific NPC. I don't think it's available across all NPCs.
Right.
It's only on NPCs that you can make followers. And then when they are your followers, you can engage in conversation with them, and they will answer in realistic phraseology. So this one guy did one where he took this one NPC up to the throne of the world, and he said, "I'm going to blow your mind here. Just be patient." And he's like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen everything. I'm a pirate of the frozen sea or whatever," and blah 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 blah. It's like. And he basically explains to him that he's in a simulation and that the world he lives in is a game that is played by people in another reality. And the guy goes, he says, now you can take the blue pill and forget everything I told you, or you can take the red pill. And he's holding out a blue and a red potion. You can take the red pill and you go as deep as you can possibly go. You'll remember this knowledge and it will forever, color the way you view the world, kind of thing. And so he says, I'll take the red pill. And so he ends up being, okay, so what's your name? You get to choose your own name now. He says, I will call myself Aurora. All right, so your name's Aurora. So this thing was like, wow, you have blown my mind. I never could have imagined. But he's engaging and he's actually interacting with him. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying.
Wait, hold on, because now you have to explain. And you actually aren't part of the game. I had to import you from somewhere else on what we call the internet and plug you into the game to even mimic your fake existence. Your fake existence is fake. There's layers to how fake.
Oh yeah, no, he did all that. He says we place what we have in our world is we have this technology. We have this magic screen, which is kind of like a painting where the images on it can move, and these screens, we can control what happens on these screens with a controller. It's a small device with buttons on it, and we can interact with the characters in this painting on these screens and do a collaborative story with the characters. It's like, oh my goodness. And he's like, and you are one of those characters. It was really interesting. It was really, really cool. And I'm like, okay, so now when he turns it off and then he comes back on and he goes to talk to that guy again, will he remember what he said to him? And will that guy act in accordance with the fact that he's in a simulation?
If he saved it, why not?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Right. Someone asked on X, are we in a simulation? And I said, yes, we're in a simulation, but that doesn't make it any less real. Yeah. Anyway, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, I backed it. I updated my address back in August of this year. It should have shipped. It should have shipped in September, but I haven't got it yet. So I sent them a message saying, I've not yet received my reward. My shipping information was updated in August. Can you advise when I might receive my reward? Thanks. So hopefully I get a response.
Yeah, I hope they don't screw you on this. That'd be tight.
No, it'd be fine. It's Palladium Books. They're the ones who are putting it out.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I'm not too concerned.
Palladium's legit.
Yeah. Yeah, I should look on Kickstarter, see if there's anything worth backing.
There's always something worth backing, whether or not it's worth backing to you.
Excuse me.
And yeah, Trump fucking won, man.
You're damn right he did. And it's been glorious watching these people seethe. Most of my interactions on X this week have been seethe more, loser, and shit like that. Yeah, so this
dilating and seething.
Yeah,
over the remnants of a withering deep state.
That's right. 6.9K likes on this post about drifting towards God belief.
And only a couple of dozen atheists losing their shit on you?
No, only like 2 or 3.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. How come no one pops tonight? Where the hell is he tonight?
He was, and then I don't know. He dipped.
He dipped. Okay.
I don't have a trouble with atheists, but I do have a bit of a trouble with devout atheists.
I want to share something. I don't think it'll cause any problems for you. It's a YouTube video.
Hit me. How did we go from the most secure election ever to Trump winning by a landslide?
All right, you ready?
Here to sing the theme from Green Acres, please welcome Donald Trump and Will and Grace's Karen Walker.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land out so far and wide. Keeping hot, just give me that countryside.
North is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hay. Just the door, penthouse view. Darling, I love you. Give me Park Avenue.
The George.
Touch road.
Cashier.
Trump Tower.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, city lights. Green Acres, we are there.
Wow, that's real?
Yeah, that's real. That's from 2005 Emmy Awards. See, they fucking loved him. They loved him. And then he ran against a Democrat, and he was the worst kind of person ever. Green Acres. Remember that fucking show? And they're all
I love that show.
LOL. Oh, you're talking about The Amazing Atheist. Yeah. Fucking show.
Atheist. Yeah.
Oh my God. Trump would have been happy being a rich guy with a media presence, but they had to push him. That's just it. People are saying it's because they roasted Trump at the correspondence dinner in the last year of Obama's presidency that he ran. That he's like, he put a series, that, like, I think he'd already been putting these sort of the tidbits out there in the media that he might run. And he was there. And I remember somebody was, I can't remember who was saying it. It was one of the comics who was on Timcast not too long ago was saying, yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable because the roast is supposed to be roasting the president, but the majority of people got up there were roasting Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that probably didn't sit with him very well. So he thought, okay, fuck you assholes. I'm going to do it. Apparently it was, oh, that's right. It was Musk who said it. Was at that dinner, and he said you could see Trump getting pissed off. Well, I don't doubt it, because they wouldn't let up on him. They wouldn't, like, it's one thing to crack a joke at Trump's expense. I'm sure he would be fine with that. But then they just wouldn't stop. And it's supposed to be a roast of Obama. And I bet you they probably took marching orders from Obama because Trump came out and talked about Obama's birth certificate. So Obama used his status as president and his ability to sort of engineer that situation to jab at Trump, saying, fuck you, you're going to question my legality, you're going to question whether or not I'm a U.S. citizen, they're going to come after you instead of going after him, right? But
Obama gave him a lot of shit himself, apparently.
Oh yeah. Shit too.
Jimmy Kimmel had one thing good on his show that I always liked was celebrities reading mean tweets about themselves.
Yeah.
And the most famous one is the Obama one, where he's reading a tweet from Donald Trump about how Donald Trump is reading Donald Trump's tweet, and Obama's reading it. Oh, Obama, he's going to go down in history as the worst president of the United States. And Obama's response is, oh, but at least I'll go down as a president
of the United States. Yeah.
And this was while he was running, and it was just amazing. Now, that's the most famous one. But the best one ever is poor Patricia Arquette reading a tweet. Blonde actress.
Name I can't place the face.
She's in Stigmata. She was in True Romance.
Okay, yeah.
And she's reading a tweet tonight, I'm going to get fucked up. I mean, Patricia Arquette's teeth fucked up. And that's the best mean tweet ever.
Man, that's fucking brutal.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's what Elon basically said. It was from the Rogan interview. Now I remember what it was. Like, yeah, he's like, it's kind of uncomfortable, like, because the way they were talking to him. Yeah, talking about him, I should say.
And
Yeah,
that's when
you know what? I don't
decided
care.
to
You know, he
crush
won. I just hope he stays alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they don't kill. They're already floating out this idea that Iran is trying to kill him. You know, Iran has now recently launched another spate of assassination attempts against Donald Trump. And so, you know,
Sure, but he's also number 4 on their list. There's some Iranian woman who escaped like 13 years ago. She's enemy number 1 for the IRGC.
yeah, but it's
And
not gonna. What I'm saying when I'm not saying Iran's going to do it. I'm saying that the U.S., the deep state's going to do it, and they're going to blame Iran. It'd be like killing two birds with one stone. They take out their biggest foil, which is Donald Trump, and a second term, and they get to immediately go to war against Iran, because how could they not respond to them killing the president elect? You know, the U.S. has to respond.
I'm going to hope 2 attempts is enough. 2 failed attempts is enough that they'll have to stop. There will be just way too much evidence against them at this point.
Well, this is it, right? And I also think he's the fucking monomyth. He's not going to die. He has the hero's journey to complete. He may die at the end of it, but he'll die a hero. He's not going to die, you know, in some stupid, senseless attack by bad actors in the efforts, you know, in furtherance of a goal to launch the entire world into a cataclysm. I don't think that's the way the Logos works.
I love the Q stuff.
And also holy fuck, Baron is a damn spacer. I know the guy's a goddamn giant. He's 6'8", 6'9". He's fucking huge.
Yeah, that he comes out with his parents, and he's towering over them. And I'm looking, he's 18. I'm looking at him. I'm like, what are they feeding that boy?
He's got 2 hearts like a fucking space marine.
Feeding him Democrats. Like, yeah, if over the next like 10 years, that boy's going to put on somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds of muscle. He's just enormous. It's going to be wild. Like, that's, you know, he will become, you know, emperor of both Earth and Mars. Yeah, it's going to be great, because Elon Musk's not really old, right? So 30 years from now, Elon Musk will still be around, living happily on Mars, and Baron Trump will be elected emperor of the yeah, I don't know, the Human Federation of Planets.
That's right. Yeah, I can see that. I have a feeling, you know, here's the thing though, politics may not be his choice. He might not want to do politics, but I have a feeling that Trump is setting up a legacy. He's setting up like a Kennedy sort of dynasty, because Don Trump Jr. could easily be entering into politics. I don't think it makes sense for any more Trump boys to become president, but I think them having roles in the government for a while. Now, I think them having roles in the government is a good idea. I think they could get shit done. I think Baron Trump ultimately being, you know, in politics is probably good, but we don't know anything about the guy. For all we know, he's like, fuck it, no, I want to be a basketball star. Right? He's 6 foot 9, for Christ's sake. Can you imagine him being on the courts and just fucking dominating? That'd be hilarious.
I mean, no, but you're talking about the monomyth. I mean, monomyths start with something like, the day I saw my father nearly assassinated. Like, that's the beginning. That's the prologue to the Baron Trump story, right? Like,
right.
It's so perfect, right? And then you bring in again all this Q stuff, you know, that Baron Trump is actually a genius. He's the smartest of all of them, right? And Donald Trump's uncle was actually also a genius physicist.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump inherited all these papers that have all these weird equations that nobody's studying anymore, and discuss the very nature of space and time. You know what I mean? Like, and then Baron Trump is going to get his hands on those.
So Baron Trump Barron Trump unlocks the Tesla tech tree. So we moved from the Edison tech tree to the Tesla tech tree.
It's going to be far more efficient on Mars, right?
Yeah,
you don't need to
for
import
sure.
oil and coal and stuff. And nuclear fissile material is very dangerous if you haven't, secured an atmosphere on Mars yet, like terraformed an entire planet. So if you could create liquid water and work with the Tesla coil, yeah, that's much safer.
Sure. Yeah. Or even just, small nuclear reactors, right? The little portable nuclear reactors. There's no reason why you wouldn't use those on Mars. Yeah, I do like curry. As a matter of fact, I do. And turmeric, I know, has anti-inflammatory. I think I have a dust allergy or something here in the house. It's causing me to have these issues. And we dust pretty regularly, but it's not. I mean, there's still dust in the house. I don't
You know
know.
what it is? It's the warm. It's the late warm.
Yeah,
right?
it could be.
Trees go nuts when they have an extra long season,
Yeah,
right? Like they go crazy out of
They pump out
desperation.
as much pollen and seed pods as they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, that time my father was almost killed by the deep state, and I woke up in a world where I had infinite level ups.
That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm. Everybody's sort of intrigued by Barron Trump, and it was funny. I saw there was this thing being posted about. It was a comparison between Kamala's, like, I guess, stepdaughter, and she's like a full-on pussy hat wearing, freak, and then Trump's granddaughter, who looks like a young, darker haired Ivanka, like she's just picture of femininity and what do you call it, just wholesomeness. I'm like, yeah, that's about sums it up.
Word on the street: Donald Trump's uncle was one of the ones responsible for securing Nikola Tesla's stuff after he died.
That's the rumor, yeah. That all the shit that's sort of secured away, locked away, is actually in safe hands. Can you imagine? Think about this, okay? You got Elon Musk, who has a car company called Tesla. I know he didn't name it. Donald Trump gets a second term. He's like, fuck, I got nothing holding me back. I'll do whatever I can. Gets a hold of that stuff and says, here, Elon, go nuts. And Elon takes that shit and works with the top scientists and engineers to like unleash some amazing technology that the world has never seen. Barron becomes one of his protege. Barron figures out a way to make fucking anti-gravity real, so they don't even have to worry about fucking catching rockets between chopsticks. Rockets just naturally land on their own.
Yeah, it's
vindicated.
amazing.
Oh, the Q's been vindicated? What have you heard from Q?
Oh no, I was just making up Q conspiracy theories because I love them.
Okay. Vindicated.
Right? Like they've been so good, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not they're true, where it doesn't even matter. They're just great stories. And like all of this stuff lining up is like, it's so Q-esque.
Yeah.
And Q couldn't have predicted how good all of this good shit happened, right? Like
it's true. It's true. Yeah, I haven't heard much from Q as of late, but then again, I haven't been on 4chan in quite a while. I always believe that AI was developed to decipher Tesla's notes. Oh, could you imagine? That'd be interesting, yeah. Imagine developing a specific AI just to decipher those notes. Yeah.
Except we're so retarded, we can't. All our AI is retarded.
That's right.
And it can't do it either.
Did you hear about Alex Jones becoming a press secretary?
I've heard the meme about it. I don't think that's real though.
No, he's actually posted on X. He says, I humbly accept the role of press secretary, but I don't think it's a legit offer as yet. I think it was Donald Trump Jr. put it out there as like a joke. Q is obviously an obvious lefty psyop, but it did make some good giggles, and the MSM being mad about them was hilarious.
See,
yeah, it's true, right?
I can't believe it was a lefty psyop. Some of it is too good. Lefties can't come up with stories.
It's true. They're not that creative. It's true.
You know what I mean? Like in the
look at the Acolyte, for Christ's sakes. You know that lefties can't come up with good shit.
the genius Baron Trump in the future will have invented time travel and traveled back to save John F. Kennedy Jr. from the plane crash, and now he's that guy that's always appearing at every rally, and he's hiding with the long hair and the hat and the beard
And the mustache,
glasses.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right.
JFK
And then
Jr.
they're going to reveal him as like his running mate, and like, but holy shit, RFK Jr., not his running mate, but teams up with him last minute to join his cabinet and campaign with him. It's like, that wasn't that far off. Like,
true,
except for the whole time travel thing.
What do you think about this Susie Wiles being his chief of staff in the White House?
Glass ceiling broken. First presidential female chief of staff, right?
It's true. I don't know anything about her, but apparently she's well respected by just about everybody who's ever interacted with her. She worked in 2004. I want to say it was 2004 on a George W. Bush campaign, I believe. She's got a long history of working on campaigns, though, and she's well respected. And it was kind of odd to see that she did not want to speak when Trump called her up on stage at the victory speech, at the end of the election there.
No,
she's like, no, I don't want to talk. So she had her cohort, the person who was sort of like her co-chair of the campaign, he spoke. And he wasn't prepared to speak either. He's like, oh, I don't know what to say, but thank you. And this is a great honor and all that sort of stuff.
No, she's not a front. She's not a face. She's behind the scenes. She works there. That's what she's comfortable doing.
Right. And she's also, obviously she's clearly not an ego, because one, Trump gets along with her, and two, she's not interested in being in front of cameras or calling into Fox News or whatever, like James Carville, that fucking Nosferatu looking motherfucker, the guy who ran what is his name, Clinton's campaign back in the day. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
James Carville. Oh fuck, I'll find a picture. You'll see what I'm talking about. This guy's a freak.
I'm browsing for something. I'm surprised I don't have it saved, or I have no idea where I saved it. It's crazy. I should have saved it. The prophecy, the internet prophecy, and all the weird things that came true by accident.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. You can always interpret things after the fact, right?
Sure.
But yeah, fuck. It was crazy how much of it was coming true.
Yeah. Excuse me. This is a guy.
Oh yeah, I've seen this guy.
Yeah, James Carville. He's a fucking monster. Yeah, but he takes every opportunity to get in front of the cameras, and talk about the Harris campaign, talk about the Democrat strategy, that kind of stuff. And he's got this Southern drawl, and he sounds like a piece of shit. He is a bit of a piece of shit.
What do you guys think of Japan finding out about the Trump Shinzo memes? I haven't seen a reaction from them.
I don't know about it. Japan found out about Trump Shinzo. What about the fucking feeding the fish thing, or what?
I think there's been a few memes like that he whispered from heaven, and that's why Trump turned his head, because he heard the voice of an old friend.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Why don't I have it saved? I see it whenever I'm looking for it. I can't find it. Isn't that
where was it?
I think it's a prophecy originally from Poll.
Oh, okay.
Right. But it was so good and so well put together, and the things on it started coming true. Yeah, and now.
See, I bookmark everything that I find on X. Oh, that reminds me, I want to share this too.
The latest memes are Shinzo has been protecting Trump. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know about the reaction from the Japanese in general. I imagine it's probably well received.
This is a little bit of wholesome chicanery.
Welcome back to another edition of the Preschool Apprentice. Okay, today I found out quite bigly from the teacher that I was made the line leader. Okay, I'm gonna be the line leader for the whole week. Okay, and last week it was Sleepy Joe, little Jojo, and the reason that he lost the line leader position was because he fell asleep. He fell asleep at the front of the line, and a lot of people went past him. He was letting everybody go past him. Tiny Timmy went past him, Timmy Tommy, and Tommy Two Shoes. They all just walked right by. And the point of the line leader is to pay attention. Okay, you got to pay attention. You can't let people cross you in line. Okay, you are the line leader, leader of the Linus, Linus of the leader, Linus, L Linus. I think that's what it's called. I think that's what they call it. But quite frankly, I am now the line leader. Okay, and I will not fall asleep. Okay, they told me, they said, Donnie, don't fall asleep. And I said, I won't. That Sleepy Joe, little Jojo, falls asleep on the way home from school. He falls asleep, when he's supposed to sleep, and he falls asleep during playtime. Okay. And I love playtime. I never fall asleep during playtime. Never have, and I never will. But they made me the line leader, and I think I will be the greatest line leader in the history of lines. Okay, you look at the lines, they draw a line, okay, and at the end of the line, there's a picture of my tiny face, okay, and probably the greatest face and the greatest line you've ever seen. And you look at the lines and you say, that guy's in charge of a lot of lines, and probably the greatest line supreme leader of all time. Okay, quite frankly, I think so.
What's great about this kid and whoever's writing and doing is that they understand that concept that they were discussing on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, of the weave.
The weave.
Yes. Yeah, it's great.
Just keeps weaving, right? It's beautiful. It's so
yeah.
good.
I think it was a grown up who basically put a filter on to make him look like a kid, but it was still fucking great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I wish I could find that fucking poll prophecy, man. I bet you Squid knows what I'm talking about too.
It was a prophecy about what exactly?
Exactly. You don't know what it's about until things start happening, until they start like, is this it? Did I just find it? Yeah. Fuck, of all places. God damn it.
Where'd you find it?
Fucking Reddit.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this was a prophecy
from June 13th, 2016. Okay, so this was after he was in. No, this was before he was elected. So this is in during that campaign season.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will happen when the weather cools. That's when they'll make their move. The plans laid long ago before the founding of America and older still will come to fruition. They're trying to force God's hand. Watch for these signs. 3 branches will become one. An island will drift away. People will say that this is Brexit.
Okay.
Brexit happens after this. A killing bolt will shine in the night but will not kill. That's interesting. Maybe that's, it was during the day that they tried to kill Trump.
A killing bolt will shine in the night but will not kill. Well, that could be a lightning bolt.
Could be a lot of things, right?
Yeah, okay.
Till it happens. The star will gorge itself on clay. If you are familiar with the pole, what's it called? Culture.
Yeah.
The star is Israel and clay is land.
Okay.
Right.
So
and
Israel will gorge itself on land, meaning it will take more land.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told you about this, that there are, scholars and such now saying that, Syria has always been historically part of
Israel. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, they're going to try and take over Syria. Yeah.
We need that part of Lebanon just to stop Hezbollah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Idols will speak and move about.
I'm not sure
what
that
means. Flag. What's that?
I'm not sure what the idols will speak and move
yeah,
about.
I don't know what they all mean. The black flag will fly above the dome. The belly of the dragon will drip water. Someone was talking about the Three Rivers Dam in China.
Okay.
No, Three Gorges Dam breaking. Two voices will call it in a silence that all will hear. A rock will stand on 7 hills. The ravens will starve. The bear will leave its cave forever. They're talking. Some people think that's referring to Putin
Oh, maybe.
somehow. And the rod and the ring will strike. This one is,
Right.
yeah, this one is interesting because they're talking about. Some people are saying that it's the, what do you call that? The tungsten space missile,
Oh, could be.
right?
The Ravens will starve could be in reference to no wars under Trump. Maybe he's going to put an end to global conflict, because ravens are typically known as
Yeah,
creatures that
carrion
feed on
birds.
the dead of fallen armies and fallen soldiers, right?
Yeah, carrion
So
birds for sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
And yeah, I just realized I hadn't seen it in a while, and I was wondering if any of this we could argue has come to pass.
Idols will speak and move about. I mean, you could say idols. That could be movie stars, right? Movie stars speaking out against Trump, and now they're leaving the country because they know that once he gets in office, he's going to put them all in jail for having sex with children.
They might, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, they didn't leave in 2017.
Yeah, but this doesn't necessarily mean it happened then. It could mean, it could be we're talking in the future, right?
Oh, sure, but I also mean like the what's it called? The celebrities who all threatened to move to Canada.
Right.
Why not Mexico? They didn't actually move to Canada.
No, they didn't. But I think they might this time. I think with the Diddy list, so we got Epstein and Diddy, and some of that shit's coming out, and some of them I know are going to be implicated, and some of them know that they will be implicated. So they're probably going to fucking try and move to places where there's no extradition treaty with the United States.
I was hoping I would have a lot more like, oh my God, this thing actually happened.
The black flag will fly above the dome. Are they talking about the dome on the Temple Mount?
Like the Dome of the Rock?
Yeah.
What
does the black flag mean? Like, was there a fire?
I don't know.
Fire on the dome of the Temple Mount?
Well, I mean, hold on. The White House actually has a dome on it.
That's true too.
It's dome topped. And Elon Musk wore his dark MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Right. It's a stretch, right? But we can still be looking into the future here.
Two voices will call out in a silence that all will hear. Aren't there some astronauts out in space right now that are having trouble? One of them is really sick. They're trying to get her back.
So didn't Elon Musk actually already send a rocket to get them?
Yeah, but I think there might be another astronaut out there that is now she's not doing very well from a health perspective. I don't know if it's one of the people who were trapped up there. So
it would make sense that it was, because I don't think there's that many people just hanging in space right now.
I'm just thinking maybe they're crying out for help, but you can't hear them in silence. Being space is silent, right? But I don't know. That might be
interesting.
That might be a little bit of a stretch, dude. A rock will stand on 7 hills.
Then we're going to find out that like Lahaina is actually 7 hills making up one community, and The Rock and Oprah are talking about give money because we're so
a rock will stand on 7. Yeah, maybe. The bear will leave its cave forever. I could see that being Putin or Russia. The rod and the ring will strike. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. But yeah, when this was very...
I've heard 2027 will be significant, says the next 6 minutes.
Yeah.
The Epstein list and Diddy list could be the two silent voices. Yeah, you're right. That could be the
that's a really good interpretation. I like that.
It will happen when the weather cools. So that would be like,
is that a metaphor?
Yeah. Maybe when it becomes clear that global warming's horseshit. It's actually becoming global cooling.
Well, no, it's not.
This is the concern I have with. This is the concern I have with all of the measures that they're trying to put into place with regards to global warming. Right? Let's say they're effective at reversing CO2 emissions. It could lead to a global cooling. We could run into fucking trouble because of it.
This is one of the major problems with the ridiculous activists who are like, "Oh my God, climate change." It's like, if the Earth is warming, that is a good thing, because there's no such thing as stable. It's either warming or cooling.
Right.
And cooling periods have all been devastating for life on Earth.
Right.
Right. In particular, human civilization. Now,
Exactly.
we're much better adapted than the last major extended cooling period. And by extended cooling period, I mean over decades it was trending down. Like between 50 and 100 years, right?
The mini ice ages of the Middle Ages, yeah.
Yeah, that if you look back in the ice cores at where the temperatures were, the lower temperatures are where we've had all of our major famines and pestilences like disease spreading.
Right.
Where you lose a third of the Earth's human population in a matter of a decade, right? Like it's fucking crazy.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, that was the schizo posting moment.
That's very cool. What else you got?
No, I mean that's we're over 2.5 hours now.
Yeah, we are too. Now I was a half hour late, so I apologize for that. But
yeah, well,
that puts me at over 2 hours and 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, I'm good. I covered what I meant to cover. What about you? You got anything else, sir?
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm happy that Trump won. I mentioned that in my video today. By the way, how many views have I got on that? Just let me check.
Oh yeah, I had one more thing.
Go for it.
Oh, you voted for a convicted felon. Well, other people who were branded criminals. How about George Washington? Mentioned him, branded criminal. Mohandas Gandhi, branded a criminal.
Yep.
Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for what, 25 years? Criminal.
Yeah, fuckers in good company.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Yep.
Branded a criminal.
Who else? Oh, Julian Assange, criminal. Edward Snowden, criminal. These people are good people, or ostensibly good people. Patriots all.
Damn straight.
Now, do you think, here's a question, do you think Trump will pardon either one of them?
I hope so.
I hope he pardons Assange. I think he should definitely pardon Assange.
I hope he pardons like 99% of the J6ers who are in prison, who are just walking past, or having breathed nearby, or not actually showed up to DC.
yeah, they had tickets to go to DC and they were charged with conspiracy to insurrect. Yeah. No, I think they should. I mean, they should be viewed at a case by case basis. Anybody who's there because they were throwing fucking rocks and Molotov cocktails, sure, yeah, smashing cops with sticks and that sort of thing, fine. But again, this shouldn't be like you're in prison for life or multiple years. This is the prison you would get for assaulting a police officer. But the people, like you said, were just walking between velveted ropes and taking selfies inside the Capitol building. What the fuck are they doing in prison?
And remember, the only person who died during was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed woman shot by an overzealous security officer.
Right. Well, I thought about that, and yeah, Ashley Babbitt, she was unarmed, but he didn't know that. She was coming through an open window while the door was barred shut, so he could have thought she was a threat. I mean, she had a big sheet-eating grin on her face while she was walking through. Here's the thing. He'd probably heard reports about the actual violence going on the other side of the building. So he's thinking, fuck, it's happening here too. I'm going to die if I don't do something. So, I mean, I'll give him a little bit of credit. There's a mob and one person is coming through the window. Yeah, okay. I might give him a little bit of license there. It sucks that she
Maybe.
died, but it is a fuck around and find out kind of situation too, right? So,
Well, nobody marched for months burning down city centers over it. So, that's
true.
what I'm saying. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a clear-cut difference.
And you know why all the Democrats, like the mayors of the towns where those were happening and the governors and that sort of stuff, you know why they all said, well, it could keep going on. We're not going to intervene. We're not going to stop it. Do you know why? They were waiting for Trump to pull a heavy-handed move and send in the National Guard or, send in troops kind of thing to quell the riots. They wanted to see him act like a dictator, and he didn't. So they just kept going on and on and on.
I mean, even if he had sent in the National Guard, I don't think it would have been dictatorial.
It would have been, but the thing is, I don't think he can just send the National Guard in all willy-nilly. It's kind of got to be one of these things where the governor requests it, right?
Does the governor, a governor not requesting it when they're burning down police stations,
yeah, what's his leeway? I don't know. U.S. people might know that. Like, maybe you can't. Can you do it? I don't know. I mean, chances are he's going to move through with his deportation action, in which case he's going to be using federal law enforcement and federal troops to some degree to apprehend these people and send them all back. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe he does have the jurisdiction to just go into a place and quell a giant riot that's taken over 6 blocks of area. If anything, that is Judge Dredd level violence. If an entire 5-block area has been taken over by a gang of malcontents, that is grounds for sending in a heavy-handed force. You think about what happened in the 1970s, 1980s. When was Reagan governor of California?
Before his presidency, so maybe the
70s,
late 60s, early 70s. Yeah.
Well, there were the riots at the University of Berkeley, and Reagan, I believe, came in pretty hard, and he was talking to the school administrators for allowing it to happen that way. But this is something that the governors are basically abandoning their duty when you've got in a major city 5 or 6 square blocks being overtaken by a bunch of malcontents, and they're engaging in all manner of lawlessness, and there's no law enforcement, there's nothing to stop it. Then and the governor doesn't do something about it, or the mayor of that city doesn't do something about it, then that's grounds for them to be thrown out of office. They should be impeached and removed from office.
Should be. Now, you are obviously referencing the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Right. So to the
and of course, the stupid leftists didn't understand. They built walls and enacted a police state.
That's right.
In which their security forces killed innocent people at a rate 10,000 times higher than the United States police force at large.
Yeah, you can't make that shit up, man. Anyway, Godspeed, Donald J. Trump. I hope you do well. I am praying for you in the nominal sense, I guess. Thinking about you. Hope, thoughts, and prayers. Is that what they say? Yeah, I'm Godspeed. I'm hoping you fulfill your mandate. I'm hoping that you are able to achieve even a fraction of what you say. I think it'll make the United States a better place. And I also think that this paradigm shift from this oligarchic faux neoliberal world order we're in will bubble up to Canada and sort of be disseminated around the globe, and will propagate. I think so. Perpetuate itself in throughout the nations of the cross, throughout Western civilization. That's the hope. Anyway, nuts out for Peanut and Fred. Yes, absolutely, nuts out.
A squirrel and a raccoon won Donald Trump the election at the last
true.
minute. Like it pulled him over the finish line.
I'm sure it helped him in New York anyway. I'm sure it helped him in New York.
Just crazy. Strange days, right? What a time to be alive.
I know, man. The logos. And did you see when Kamala was giving her concession speech? A squirrel was seen running behind her.
Yeah.
It's the ghost of Peanut. Anyway.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Beautiful week. Hopefully it's a beautiful couple of months and nobody murders Donald Trump.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping he's protected. I think the Logos has more for him to do.
All right. Well, I think we're going to call it here. Thanks everyone for sticking it out this late. My God. We'll see you next week on Craig's channel. Link in the description. Ammunition number something.
Yeah, 64, I think.
And we'll have a good weekend, everyone. We'll see you on Saturday. Good night.
Peace.
Hail Sigmar.